And welcome to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. And we're coming to you tonight on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and Channel 54. That is the X Zone TV channel on Simul TV. You're going to be very interested in this next hour, Exonation. I had the pleasure of talking to my guest prior to going on air, and she is one of the most interesting people that I've talked to. Her name is Debbie Ziegelmeyer, and she is the Director of Underwater Research and Recovery for MUFON. Now, we've had many members of MUFON on the show over the years, and I've never heard of this division. So let's bring Debbie on and to talk about it. Hey, Debbie, how are you?
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. The Director of Underwater Research and Recovery. Wow. How often are your services called?
Oh, not enough.
No.
There's a lot that goes on in and around water. Actually, 1 in 5 sightings are water related. The problem is that a lot of what goes on is extremely deep. So that's why, a lot of it has to do with research and having a background. I'm a scuba instructor, so having a background in water and understanding limitations and depth and that type of thing, that's more where my expertise comes into play. There's a lot of places I'd love to be diving, but a lot of it's really deep.
Tell us about yourself. What was it that happened in your life that put you on the road to becoming the Director of Underwater Research and Recovery at MUFON?
Either the right place at the right time or wrong place at the wrong right time. I'm not really sure. I became a scuba diver, actually, the weekend after 9/11. Just, I guess really bad timing. But the more I was diving, the more I realized that there was just a world under there that nobody paid any attention to. You can be standing on a building looking down at the water, and you can't see just a mere few feet underneath. And I thought, what a great place to hide. So Tom Ferrario and I, he's also a member of MUFON, we in 2003 decided we were going to start a MUFON dive team. And then it kind of went from there. We taught classes, and I became the director, and I started focusing more on water. A lot going on in the water.
You yourself, have you had a UFO sighting or encounter?
Several.
Really? Can you share one with us?
Well, sure. One of them was, it was January, probably the best one, the most documented, January 25th of 2006. I was on a cruise ship. And of course, it was in the Caribbean. I was in St. Martin, went diving, and then got back on the ship. And I'm the kind of person that you see on the ship that as we're leaving, I'm the one there with the camera. I'm taking pictures. And finally we got far. Oh, yeah, there I am. I'm taking pictures. If we get in, get back out. Well, I didn't see a whole lot of St. Martin because I was underwater diving.
Yeah.
And about 20 miles out, we were heading from St. Martin to St. Thomas. This was a cruise ship. And as I'm walking toward the bow of the ship to meet up with the rest of the group, this was about 6:20, I looked off to the right, and there were probably the size of a small car off in the distance, 2 large, like saucer shape. And they were moving like that and doing this. So they were kind of pivoting, but moving around just barely above the water. And I looked back, I thought, is that a reflection? And I noticed the ship was leaving them behind. So I got one good picture, and then I took off running toward the back of the ship to try and get a second picture. And it was through plexiglass, so the second one didn't turn out. But the first one came out fairly good. I didn't notice till later that there was a third one starting kind of in a foggy area right above that was also materializing. Well, the funny thing about it was that it was my pictures. This was January, January, I think it was 25th And my pictures after that were all dated February 8th and about 11 hours later.
Huh.
So I guess it was some type of EMF and it messed up my camera. And every picture from that moment on, the rest of the cruise were dated. I mean, by the time those pictures, I was already home, and my pictures were dated. I asked everybody on the cruise ship that I could find around all the crew and just anybody I could find, and said, "What do you have something that do you send remote control something out?" Even the submarines. Now this was above the water, but I was just
Right.
grasping, and they said even the little mini subs that come out for tourists don't come that far out. So I have no idea what it was, but I did get a really good picture of it, and that was
Fascinating.
my probably most interesting encounter. I've done about, I guess, over 900 investigations for MUFON, so I've had some pretty good encounters. But that was my favorite water one. Well, one of my favorite water.
At the time where the ship was, were you in the Bermuda Triangle?
I was asked that. I think we were just outside of it
Mm,
because the Bermuda Triangle is Bermuda, I believe Puerto Rico, and Miami.
yeah.
So I think St. Martin, St. Thomas were just outside of it, but general area, yeah,
That's right. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
and a lot of sightings in that area.
Listen, did you have the opportunity to talk to the crew, the captain, the radio operators, to see if their radar picked up anything?
No, you can't really talk to the captain. I talked to a lot of the crew, and they just brushed me off. I
Really?
was, and unfortunately, I was the only one out there that saw them. When you take a cruise, this was a Royal Caribbean, and when you take a cruise, when you get back on the ship, the first thing you're going to do is, back then in 2006, there was dinner. We were second seating, which was 8:30. Well, the first seating 6:30. So the people that, as we left, they got on the ship earlier. They were all going to dinner. Most of the people in my group were getting their clothes changed because it was formal, and there's pictures and all this that
Yep.
they do ahead of dinner. So everybody was preoccupied. I thought, nah, I'm fine. So I was snapping pictures and happened to be, I looked around, I was the only one that saw it. And I thought, really?
Oh my
And
gosh.
the crew, I asked the crew, I asked anybody I could find that was a crew member, and nobody saw anything. But
Did the Coast Guard have any reports of any anomalies on that date and time?
no, I did some research on that later, and no, they
Really?
didn't.
Yeah.
And the
Son of a
funny
gun.
thing, like it's in my, actually, I have the pictures in my book. So I one of many water sightings that I've had, but that one's the most interesting because I got the closest view of that. I mean, who knew? They say, well, okay, um, underwater. I mean, I was diving. I couldn't have been in a better place. I'm scuba diving just probably a couple hours prior to this, and didn't see anything. But I get on the ship and then I see something. So, you know, kind of right place at the right time. But while I was underwater, wrong place at the right time.
During your encounter or your sighting, did you feel anyone or anything trying to communicate with you? Do you think that they were aware that the ship was there and that you were watching them?
No, I think it
No way.
was just random. The ship was just going by, and I happened to be at the right place and caught a picture. But they were probably, oh my gosh, maybe, I'd say at least the length of a football field out, if not a little bit more. And it was hard to see, with the waves. But
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I know I've taken many cruises, and the ship is loaded with closed circuit TV, front, back, and side. Uh, I don't know if at that time they would have been able to give you the opportunity of checking their video files.
no, they really seemed uninterested.
Oh gosh.
And the thing is, a lot of the closed circuit TVs are on the people. They're not out on the water
Yeah.
looking, that because I did have a chance to look at, I forgot which ship it was, but we were able to go down, and then they showed the cameras, and we were able to see, and you could see the view from what the crew has, what the
Right.
captain had, and it's the front, the bow of the
Yeah.
ship. It's the back. You really don't have anything off of the side of the ship.
No way.
A lot of their cameras are pointed in, they're pointed up. They want to see what the people are doing, but there really isn't a whole lot that's kind of out into the water. I mean, I don't know what
Deb,
they'd be looking for. Mhm.
Deb, you and I have to take our break. Please stand by. Thank you so much for joining us. Interesting young lady. And Exonation, if you'd like more information about Debbie, her website is debbiediver.com. That's www.debbiediver.com. And she has been with MUFON for 22 years. I know for a fact that she started when she was 6 years old. And yeah. And once again, she's the Director of Underwater Research and Recovery. Debbie and I will be back on the other side of this break. Don't go. Welcome back, everyone. Debbie Ziegelmeyer is our very special guest. Her website is debbiediver.com. Debbie, have you, during the times that you've gone diving for MUFON, have you come across anything that would suggest that you were on the trail of an underwater anomaly or a UAP?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I really haven't. I've done a few dives for MUFON, but most of the research that I do is surface in and around. I focus on areas. Well, in the state of Missouri, we have three rivers, and we have the Merrimack, the Mississippi, and the Missouri River.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like most of our sightings lately have been in and around those areas. And to try and go down into some of these rivers, I'm not sure what rivers you live around, but some of them, they have undercurrents. It's dark, cold, water swift. But I have found that there are a lot of sightings in and around. We've had Tic Tac sightings right around the Mississippi River. And the Merrimack River, we've got strange balls of light that have been hovering over and coming in and around. What we're trying to figure out is why. We also know in the area where I've been doing my research, there's a lot of caves, so that might have something to do. There's caves that run all along the river. So we're trying to figure that out. I've been doing an investigation in and around that area since 2018. And my whole team, we have a large team of people that have been in and around there, and there's still activity going on. So a lot of it has to do, you may not, it's better to set up around an area and see things coming in and out than to just try and hover around where you're really blinded underwater and you miss an opportunity.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Deb, let me ask you, let's go back in time. One of the most famous underwater UFO events was Shag Harbor.
Right.
What's your take on that?
I thought a lot about that. That's back in 1967. From the craft came into the water, and when it hit the water, there was this yellow foam that was on the top, on the surface. And of course, it was Halifax. People in that area thought that there was a plane that had crashed. The craft was underwater for a while, and then it moved about 20 miles up the coastline, and from what I understand, another craft came in and was underwater with it. And Chris Stiles did a whole lot of research on that. He's the expert. But this other craft apparently was helping the first craft repair. And then when a Russian sub came into the area, both craft moved underwater, and then someplace, I think in the vicinity of Maine, came out of the water and went up into off into space.
Sure.
Now I was thinking, if I was a craft and I was passing a planet, a blue planet, and I started to have mechanical problems, they probably, I don't know if they meant to go in. Obviously, they crashed in the water. But I thought, maybe they were just passing our planet and thought, okay, I'm going to stay here rather than be someplace where they could be detected. They ended up in the water right there. And then once they were repaired, they went off on their way. And so I don't think it was a planned, I don't even know if they even planned to visit our planet. Might have just been a great place to hold out until somebody could help them.
Yes, I've had the opportunity of having Chris Stiles on the show, and he is he's done a great job on the entire Shag Harbor event.
Oh, he's still finding witnesses. That man's phenomenal.
You mentioned Tic Tac,
Right.
and I think that a lot of listeners, when they hear Tic Tac, they think of the U.S. Navy footage that has become known around the world. As an underwater investigator, what is your opinion of the entire Tic Tac sighting, as well as other underwater sightings that are being seen more frequently each and every period?
The Tic Tac, I thought that was interesting because I think it started out. They saw several of them. The activity was going on for about a week. The one, I think at first they said they were at about 80,000 feet, dropped to 20,000, then right over the water. There's been reports that have been going on, my gosh, since maybe the 60s, 70s of fast movers underwater. These craft, and I don't really like to call them USOs because they start out UFOs. They start out in the sky and then they go underwater, and for whatever reason, whether they're after a place, just maybe there's a base underwater, or if they're harvesting something, maybe hydrogen. But they've been around for a long, long time. In fact, I got, let's see, there's a passage, let's see. I started doing some research how far back have we had Tic Tacs. And this is Zechariah. This is from the St. James from the St. James Bible.
Right.
Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the beneath thereof 10 cubits. Now that's about 30 foot by 15 foot. This is from the Bible. So this is how long. That sounds like a Tic Tac. And I mean, they've been around. They've been reported for a long time. I had a chance several times to speak with Carl Feind, who is an expert on water sightings, and he believed that the electromagnetic field around the craft that investigators are all familiar with. That's what when you come into contact with it, with this electromagnetic field, this is what turns off people's vehicles. This is what messes up your cameras,
Right.
Drains your batteries, that type of thing. But Carl believed that that's why these craft were able to come into our atmosphere without a sonic boom, and to be able to travel with ease at a high rate of speed in the water, because this electromagnetic field that was around these craft, they never actually touch the water or our atmosphere. They're protected and they're able to move at a high rate of speed.
Like their own little force field.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's been several reports. The Russians in the 60s and the 70s were reporting sounds that they called it Vakari. I believe it was croaking sounds underwater. So there were sightings that have been documented all the way back. Russian submarines, nuclear submarines, have heard sounds underwater, unexplained sounds.
What were those craft that appeared or followed the aircraft in World War II? What were they called?
Oh, they were called
Foo Fighters.
There you go.
Yeah.
Went right out of my head. See, that's up in the air. I focus on water.
Yeah.
But yes.
But I wonder if they were Tic Tacs.
I've seen a lot of pictures. They look kind of like a fuzzy circle.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure, but I know submarines have been picking up activity for gosh, years. I mean, probably 30, 40, 50 years. Submarine. There's been reports. I found some backs from all the way, I believe, sightings from the 40s that where military ships, merchant ships, that type of thing, that they see. Well, one of them, they were reporting the lookout was on, in the middle of the night, was out, lookout on a ship, and saw something come up alongside, kept pace with the ship, and it wasn't being picked up on radar. It was just something, and then eventually it moved ahead and then went off, and they thought it was a submarine, and it just moved ahead and then gained speed and then lifted up into the sky and was gone. So there's, oh my gosh, probably I started making a map of sightings that were just ocean and sea, and I think I have well over 300 dots,
Oh
just
my gosh.
reported water sightings that were logged. These are ship logged longitude, latitude from all over the world.
Before we take our next break, I'd like to ask you this hypothetical question. Based on your experience, your sightings, the work that you do with MUFON, do you think that, number one, that we are being visited by one source? And number two, do you think that any of these different visitors, or wherever they come from, are a threat to our society and a threat to humanity?
Well, I started writing my book because of the COVID. We were all locked down in, spring of 2020. I got about a month into the book and I changed the title to The Alien Colonization of Earth's Waterways. I don't think they're all visitors. I think they're residents. There's reports of these creatures, these alien beings that have been here for a long, long time. I read the passage from the Bible,
The
but
Nephilim, sure.
I don't see where these alien beings from, and there are several different species, because there's several different descriptions, but I don't believe that every one of them is visiting. I think some of them have been here. I think they've been hiding underwater and several other places, but that's probably the one place that we haven't detected them, because
Yeah.
we still haven't. We've only explored 5% of our waterways. So I mean, what does that tell you?
You were asking where I live and where our studios are. Ironically, we're on the coast of Lake Ontario, but very close to the Niagara River, Niagara Falls, and Lake Erie empties into the Niagara River. So we're part of what is called the Great Lakes Triangle. Once again, many, many, many sightings over the years,
Right,
especially around the falls and
right.
down through the gorge. You and I have to take another break, young lady. Please stand by. Thanks for being with us. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about your book.
Oh, okay.
All right. Debbie Ziegelmeyer. Did I say it right again?
Hmm?
Debbie Ziegelmeyer, right?
Yes,
Ah,
Ziegelmeyer.
great. Ziegelmeyer is our guest this hour, and her website is DebbieDiver.com, and Debbie is the Director of Underwater Research and Recovery for MUFON. That's the Mutual UFO Network. We'll be back. Whatever you do, don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. Debbie Ziegelmeyer is our special guest, as she is the Director of Underwater Research and Recovery for the Mutual UFO Network. She is also, I believe you're a state director?
Yes, State Director
Okay.
of Missouri.
And Debbie's website is DebbieDiver.com. And Debbie, I believe the website for MUFON is MUFON.net?
MoveOn.com.
Oh, it is .com. Okay, thank
Yes.
you for correcting that. Tell me about your book.
Oh, okay. Well, I decided spring of the year that mainly because, like I said, because of what was going on with COVID, that I had gathered up 20 years of information and focusing mostly on water. So I thought, well, what a good time. I needed to, take this lockdown and take my energy and focus it on something worthwhile. So I thought, well, I'm going to write a book about a few sightings that I'd had, and
Right?
some sightings I'd investigated. And the more I started gathering up information, it's my very first book. It went from a little book about water to a reference book. So I tried to put a little bit of everything in there, and I thought that the volume of it was important too. I have one chapter that's just nothing but sightings from ship log sightings, and the volume of it was unbelievable. I made sure I could have put just a few of those, but I had no idea how much was going on there. Um, Shiplogged, how much was going on in the water till I started really, really researching this. And at first, I thought it was going to be, like I said, just a little book about some underwater sightings. And I changed the name The Alien Colonization of Earth's Waterways because I started finding more and more evidence about underwater bases. I know there's a lot going on in and around Catalina Island. There's
Yeah.
definitely some kind of a base there. Puerto Rico, I spoke with Jorge Martin, who is the lead investigator for UFO sightings in Puerto Rico. Uh, he's even had on his website. He even has a picture of a wormhole that's opening up and a craft that came out and was going into the water. Russia, my gosh, Russia has got so much going on. You know that they had sightings in Lake Baikal of 10-foot beings underwater, and their divers have had an encounter with them. So I mean, and there's several different reports where they have their giant swimmers, is what they call them. So these aren't somebody that's just down there visiting. They are actually living in the waters. The Baltic Sea, Lake Baikal. Um, I believe there's some kind of a base, like I said, Catalina Island, but I can
Hmm.
go on and on. That there's places pretty much up Alaska Triangle. That's another place, all in and around Alaska. There's a lot going on there. So the more I did research on it, I thought, oh my gosh, what is the definition of a resident? Well, if you've been in some place and set up housekeeping for 2 weeks, you're considered a resident. You're not a visitor anymore. And it scared me a little bit. I had to step back from the book for a couple days and think, oh wow, I can't believe, And then it was kind of a quest to get it done and to let everybody know just how much is going on with water, because
Yeah.
like you said, there aren't a whole lot of people that write about water.
Taking the possibility that these aliens have been here for a very long time, do you think that might explain the mythological mermaid and merman?
Oh, probably
Hmm.
everything that um, we talk about folklore, and that came from someplace.
Yeah.
We talk about too, that you have the elongated heads, and I've had someone that just say, well, that was just cosmetic, that people just wanted to make their heads longer.
Hmm.
Well, no, we're a species of people who like to mimic. And so somebody somewhere along the way saw somebody that had an elongated head and wanted to mimic that. But as far as the mermaids, where did that come from?
Hmm.
What about gnomes?
Yeah.
Gnomes, little people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
yeah,
then we can go into Egyptology with Queen Nefertiti, and she had an
right,
elongated skull, and so
right,
did her children. Yeah.
exactly.
And this would kind of support the theory that the pyramids were actually built by ETs.
I, I would. Well, I don't think we could have. Well, now I'm babbling. Um, there's pyramids on Mars too, which is interesting. So I know that they try and say, well, there's not, but
Hmm.
there's been enough research done that you can see that there's some kind of pyramid. There's pyramids. There's pyramids in Bosnia. There's pyramids in Mexico.
Yeah.
There's a pyramid. Apparently, let's see, there was pyramids that are found off the shore of Japan. Now, these were built so many years ago. It just seems kind of odd that all these different cultures would build
Hmm.
the same type of structure.
And there's also variations of it, especially if you go
All
to
right,
Mesoamerica. Yeah.
all right.
You're a member of the STAR Team investigation part of the Mutual UFO Network. Now, what is the STAR Team?
Oh, that's because that's somebody that's been around a long time, like me. So,
I
um,
see.
no, what it is, a star team is somebody who has done, um, I guess, enough investigations that they're experienced enough to go out, lead a team that can leave their job or leave their household at a moment's notice. So we can
Right.
pack up. We've got the equipment. We can go out. We can do the research, and I mean, it's basically it's an experienced investigator.
And what kind of equipment would you use if you were called out to do an investigation of a UAP UFO?
Well, the first thing I do when I go on site is I have a very, very good Geiger counter. And when we went to the investigation that we're working on now,
Right.
that it's been for several, 3, 4 years in St. Clair, the very first site, I had my team stay in their vehicles and I ran a Geiger counter. Then we also run an EMF meter, but a Geiger counter, I think if somebody said that there's something that's landed, the last thing I want to do is put my team at risk. So we
Right.
start out with a Geiger counter, EMF meter. I have an unbelievable night vision camera that's military grade. It's not even infrared. We did some research and found out that my photo video, actually my chief investigator, Mel, found out that some of the video we took, we were picking up planes 130 miles away. So we use flight radar 24, and that way we can eliminate what we know are aircraft. We also use several different websites like
Yeah.
that. But
But doesn't Flight 24 and the other airline sites that are available to the public, military aircraft aren't identified on it?
no, but balloons are. Most of the time, we had a sighting, I guess, about 3 months ago that started out in the corner of Oklahoma and went kitty corner across the state of Missouri into Quincy, Illinois. And by using Flight Radar 24, we had people with these pictures that looked like a Tic Tac, and come to find out that it was some type of a military balloon. And so we were able to track
I
it all
see.
the way across with the transponder from that. So no, you don't pick up everything military, but we also had. I just worked on a sighting at an airport about 15 miles south of me, something that was picked up over the top of the airport, stationary, and then finally moved off towards St. Louis. The interesting thing about that was that it was seen by a pilot and skydivers, so it was above them. Now, this is something that wasn't picked up on radar. Also, we know it wasn't a drone because it was at 9,000 feet, and it's illegal to fly a drone over an airport. And then the way that it reacted, too. So you also have something that's stationary, hovering, and then just, moves off or moves at a high rate of speed, or, depending on the movement, too.
You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Please stand by. And Explanation, if you'd like to find out more about Debbie. And Debbie, where's your book available?
Amazon. It's in color on Amazon.
Just go to Amazon.
Right, go to Amazon. There was a black and white version, but now it's in color, paperback and hardcover.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Explanation, Debbie's website is debbiediver.com, and we'll be back as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our Broadcast Center studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, right after this very short pause for a good cause. And welcome back, everyone. Debbie Ziegelmeyer is our very special guest of this hour. She is the Director of Underwater Research and Recovery for MUFON, and she's also an author, and her website is debbiediver.com. First of all, Debbie, before we go too far, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Wonderful information, and congratulations on your book and the work that you do for MUFON.
Oh, gee, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. It's pleasure.
Well, we'll have to have you back on. If you come across anything that you'd like to get across the airwaves, then that goes for you as well as anybody in MUFON. Just give us a call. We'll be glad to help you out any way we can.
Great. Appreciate it.
Let me ask you this question, Deb. Why do you think the governments of the world are suppressing the information about UFOs, UAPs, if all these people in the United States, Canada, and around the world are actually having these sightings?
That's a good question. I honestly, they tried to explain it away as people panicking, especially what happened with War of the Worlds,
Oh yeah,
way back in the day. But uh, they might have taken the time to desensitize us. Uh, Children now, they don't have any problem with, they don't say, well, there may be aliens. They know that there are other races of people, out out into space, out in the galaxy, out in the universe. So I thought at first, well, maybe that's it. Maybe they were giving people the time to be desensitized. We wouldn't be panicked. But I think, unfortunately, it's all about power. Every country would like to have a little bit more military technology. It's all about technology, what they can get. If they capture something they don't want to share. And I think that, unfortunately, that's what it is. And we've been lied to. This has been covered up for so long that at what point, where do you start to say, okay, we've known this forever?
yeah.
Well, now they have. They've come right out and said, oh, we have this video right here. But one of the questions they asked Congress was, do you have any craft? Have you ever captured a craft? And the answer was no. Oh, come on. I mean, they have Roswell. I mean, we all know about 1947. Roswell, of course, they captured something, and they've captured a lot of vehicles over the years. A lot of this back technology, night vision, and we can go on and on. Some of the things. Power.
You mean that Roswell wasn't Project Mogul?
I've been to Roswell. I've done 2 archaeology digs at Roswell. I know Don Schmidt very well. Uh, no, I've talked to witnesses out there. I've been on the debris site.
Right.
No, it wasn't Project Mogul. That actually did that happen in the 50s, like 1952. So no, it was one more cover up,
One more cover up amongst
right?
many.
Amongst many.
As the lady who is the director of underwater research and recovery for MUFON, and the work that you've done, and the research that you've done, where does the fabled Atlantis fall into all of this? Was Atlantis an alien base?
I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. There's so many theories about
Yeah.
that, uh, and so many theories about where it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Atlantis, it could have been maybe an underwater alien base, or maybe it was just a city that was sunk, that was destroyed by a tidal wave, earthquake, that type of thing. I don't know.
What's next for you? You've written a book. You're the director of underwater research and recovery. You're part of the STAR team. Before we went on here, you were telling me about your skydiving experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
my birthday was in January, and I was in the Keys. I was in Key West for my birthday, and I thought, well, I'm going to go diving. I've been diving all over the Keys, all over the Caribbean. I've even been diving in Alaska, and I thought I want to do something different, and so I decided to go skydiving instead. I'd never been
Wow.
before. Was tandem dive to a very nice young man, big young man, and had a great time. If you ever have a chance to go skydiving, wow, it was so much fun.
Where's your favorite place to go diving?
Oh, Cozumel. I love Cozumel.
Really? Yeah.
There's just so much to see. Cozumel, and also the Florida Keys. There's a lot of ships in the Florida Keys, but there's just something about Cozumel that you just can't beat it.
Yeah, especially when you come back on shore and they've got the best margaritas going.
There you go.
What are your final thoughts? What would you like to share with the Exo Nation? Words of wisdom, or just a message from you to them.
To you to pay more attention to what's going on around you. There are so many people that are so busy. Put down your cell phone and look up. Look up if you're in the water. Look above. If you're going to look someplace, you want to sky watch. Go around water and sky watch at night. The best time is right after the sun goes down. It seems like there's a lot of activity. But put your cell phone down and live. Take a look at what's going on around you, because there's so much going on around people, and they don't take they. I think that's why it's so easy to hide this. We're easy targets. We're allowing it, and then maybe if we were a little bit more vocal and said, "Hey, we want to know the truth," so hopefully something's going to happen with this new office and that's being formed in the Pentagon. And then
Hopefully.
maybe, hopefully, right?
Is there anything new with MUFON that you could share with us?
Well, we have been for a while. I'm also an archivist. We're trying on our website. We're trying to gather together all the older files, and from CUFOS and
Afro.
exactly. And they're all going to be on the website, available to the public. It's called Project Aquarius. And so you'll be able to go on, you'll be able to look at files that are back from the 40s and the 50s. One of the original files, as I was going through, was Travis Walton's file. Also, Marley Woods, that's a famous sighting here in Missouri. So there's all those, oh my gosh, just about any sighting. I think even Shag Harbor, everything that was investigated all the way through the years, there is a report on it. It's all going to be available for the public.
Tell our listeners how they can find out more about you, where they can get your book, and how they can get more information on MUFON or even become a member of MUFON.
Go to MUFON.com, and on MUFON.com, it'll tell you the website will tell you how to become a MUFON member, how you can become an investigator. Probably the best thing I ever did.
Really?
I wanted to know what was going on. I'm almost sorry I asked. Now there's so much that's been going on. Very, very exciting. If you think you read a mystery novel, I'm living a mystery novel. My book's available on Amazon, and if you want to contact me, my email address is mufondiver@gmail.com.
Debbie, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. I wish you continued success, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone.
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Take care of yourself. Be safe out there.
Thank you. You too.
Night now, Deb. X Zone Nation, our guest this hour has been Debbie Ziegelmeyer, and her website is debbiediver.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break at the 11 o'clock hour, as we're going to open up the phones, I think Craig was saying. But I never know what Craig is going to do. Nobody knows what Craig is going to do. I don't think Craig even knows what Craig is going to do. But we'll find out at the top of the hour, as the X Zone will continue with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios right here in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada.